thank you for listening to my story today. I think when I was asked to do this, I was thinking about what I actually wanted to put into this presentation, and thinking about the last kind of year and a half. I thought there's so much that's happened in our business. How am I going to fit it all into like 15 minutes? So hopefully I can incorporate and answer some of the questions that you guys have kind of put down. So just kind of a little bit about what we're going to cover. Just a bit about who we are as a business, if no one knows who we are. A bit about what happened before we had a recruitment team. Challenges that we faced, which I'm hoping everyone will kind of be able to resonate with that. What we've done since last year. Some of the tools we love, and kind of talk to you about how we use them in the business. And what our plans are for the future and how we can push the boundaries. So just a bit about who we are. We are 11 years old now as a business, fast-growing tech company, HR. Our mission is to make the world a better place to work. We're basically the employee engagement people. So I don't know if anyone's ever heard of us before, but we help businesses connect better with their employees. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about kind of our journey in terms of our talent team. So I joined last April, and we had one recruiter in our Bulgarian office. She'd only been in the business 3 months, never had any recruitment experience before. So we had a lot of things happening in the company. So we were spending over that amount every year, £250,000 on agency fees globally. We are now 355 staff, but I would say back then we were probably about 200 across, at the time, maybe 4 countries. So it's quite a lot of money. There was no consistent messaging when hiring and onboarding staff, so it was all done with the hiring manager. They could just hire whenever they wanted, with whoever they want, friends of people. There was just no kind of experience and kind of embedding that into kind of our onboarding side. There was no ATS, no hiring metrics. We had no idea who was going through an application stage, how long it took to hire, anything like that. There was lack of expert salary advice, so we had probably about 3 people in HR globally. One of those was somebody in the UK, and then we had 2 people in Bulgaria. So in terms of getting an idea of whether we're paying our staff the right money in comparison to other people, we didn't really have that neither. We had quite a poor employer brand. Like, everyone knew who we were as a business, as what we did. But as an employer, we were really unheard of, and people didn't know who we were and what we did. And there was no focus on experience of the candidate. And I think some of the challenges, which I'll talk about in a moment, will come quite clear as to the reason why. So that one of the biggest challenges for us was encouraging change. I would say up until 2015, there's probably about 50% of the company who had been there for at least 5-6 years, some of the hiring managers as well. So when they're set in their own ways of doing their own thing, it was just so difficult to get them on board and actually change the way they were going to do something. Stopping the hiring managers go rogue, we still get that now, but we're cutting that down. I'm sure people have experienced that before. We were getting a lot of negative Glassdoor hiring reviews. So I'll talk about it a bit later, but we use Glassdoor as one of our key tools in our hiring process, just as a business, as a culture. But we were getting a lot of really negative reviews where people weren't getting feedback. It was taking them 4, 5, 6 weeks to get an answer, whether they were actually going to be put through to the next stage. One of our really big things was, how can we create something global that isn't going to affect our culture? Quite like you, Rachel, culture is a really big part of our business. It's what our CEO kind of founded the company on. So that was a really big challenge. How do we hire in America and Australia and not lose the culture that we've spent so long building? And again, weak employer brand was a big challenge for us. And then education internally and building credibility as a talent team. In the last year, I probably had a question from a hiring manager. We were having a bit of a difficulty hiring someone in sales, and they're very sought after, good salespeople. And this person wanted a bit more money than we could pay for, and the hiring manager asked me whether I'd be making a fee off that placement if I was offering more money, and I kind of said no, that's not how an internal function works. which was quite funny. So there's been a lot of challenges. Our recruitment team now is 4. So there's me in the UK, we have 2 in Bulgaria, and we have 1 in Australia, in America. She joined in December. So that's another big challenge, having a global team. You know, I have a team that I work really closely with, but I don't see them every day, and that's actually, for me, was quite a hard thing to actually get past and try and make some success from our team. So what have we done in the last kind of 18 months? Well, it was quite a lot, so hopefully I've picked out a few important things. We implemented Greenhouse. I don't know if anyone uses Greenhouse. Great ATS, does a lot of things. They've got so many new product improvements coming, so we're really excited about that. Really focus on our candidate experience. So we've done a couple of things like on our email signatures, we have our group HRD's contact details. If they have any questions or queries about their interview process, they can reach out to him. The idea of that was to stop people going to Glassdoor first and come to us initially. Internal education, that's been a really big thing. So we've run workshops. We use our own internal communication to really encourage people to buy into what we're doing, and I think that's more kind of building credibility from managers as well. Structured and culture-centric interviews. So this was quite a challenge as well, because we were having interviews that were lasting 5 or 6 stages, and as you know, that's just ridiculous. So what we do now is we have a set structure for 2 different levels. We have a junior to mid and a mid to senior. So a junior to mid will have 2 stages. Within those stages, you can have as many people in that process as you want. So if the last stage, if you want someone to meet a leadership team member but also meet the team, they can do that, but it has to be done in that one stage, so it doesn't continue on. And also we've done some values and culture-centric interviews where we get hiring managers to feed back to us based on our values, our 8 values, which have been working quite well, so we'll see how that goes. Onboarding, we had no onboarding strategy. It was literally done by our hiring manager. There was no consistent training, learning and development, nothing. So we implemented an onboarding strategy in January, and we're using a tool called Onboarder for that, which I can show you some examples of a bit later. It's really great. It's helped us give a consistent message for any new hire globally. So far, that's had some really, really great feedback. We've had some hiccups with it as well, but we're getting there. We built credibility as a global team. That's took quite a while as well. Social media. So as a business, Reward Gateway is great at social media, talking to our customer, talking about our product, but we actually never focused on attracting talent through social. So we've only just started this. About 2 months ago, we've set up a Facebook Reward Gateway careers page. We're now focusing on our social media strategy there, and then we're going to be introducing new channels very soon. So that's really new. It's had some really great stuff go on there. Like, it's more about understanding the RG people rather than our product and what we sell. And we're currently going through a job description and advert redesign. The adverts were about 4 pages. They were just so ridiculously long. You know, when you have an advert, you want to be wowed and you want that in 1 page. You want to be like, I want to work for this company, and you just want to apply. So we're working on that. So we're testing some at the moment. So if anyone gets a chance, have a look at our website, because we've got some old ones and some new ones. And the new ones have already shown so much more attraction to our website rather than job boards, which is brilliant. So just a bit about some tools that we love. As a tech company, you know, we try and get as many technology tools and stuff on board, as many as we can. So here's some of the ones that we use. Slack, we introduced, I think, in February. Does anyone use Slack? Yeah. It's amazing. It helps us, especially as a recruitment team, to be able to communicate. It's just like your own community within your business, and it's really helped us as a global company come together, celebrate wins, success. So, for example, if there's a sales gone through in Australia, it comes through on the general Slack channel, so everyone can celebrate that. Just things that are going on. It's a really great tool. I would definitely recommend that. Greenhouse, we've been using that. Glassdoor. The little blob at the top is Onboarder. It's a bit of an odd logo. LinkedIn and Smart Hub, which is one of our own products, which we use as well. So this is just an example of one of our Slack channels. So in London, we've got an open Slack called 265 TCR, which is basically our office. So things that happen throughout the day, if there's any events going on, everyone just puts it in the Slack channel and people know what's going on, which is pretty cool. This is just some examples of Emborder. So just to elaborate on that a little bit, Emborder is a SaaS-based platform, and what it does, it allows you to build an onboarding experience for your new hire. You can decide what message they get, when they get that through the cycle. So we have people who are on a 4 weeks notice, who start within a week. So you can actually decide what information they see, what's relevant, and it really helps our hiring manager set themselves up for someone to start. You know, especially when you've got a new hiring manager who's never hired before, never done an onboarding side before, it tells them, you know, your new hire starting soon, have you done this, have you done that, have you got their training set up? And on the candidate side, they get messages like, we're really looking forward to you joining, here's some things you should read beforehand. The great thing about it is that you can push your own content through it, so we're going to be putting our learning development through that as well. So this is basically, I don't know if you can read it very well, but this is like what the text messages says, so I think that's to the candidates. It says there's some news from Award Gateway, so you click through. And then this is one of the ones that the hiring manager would get, and it basically just says your new starter starts tomorrow, click to prepare for their first day. There's some really cool stuff in there, so you can ask them questions like, what's your favourite food, what are your favourite, you know, hobbies? So then they actually know things about each other before they join as well, which is really cool. And there's also a way of kind of getting feedback from that new hire, so you can put in feedback after week 1, after kind of 4 weeks. It really helps you see whether that new hire is getting the right learning, whether they're being introduced to the business correctly. And that's just an example of some of the tick boxes you can put in, but you can brand it however you want and put your own content in it, and we've literally found it amazing, especially when we have most of our hires in Bulgaria. This is a great way to make sure they get the same experience as someone in the UK and Australia and America. So another thing that we use, excuse the horrible picture, is one of our own products. So when a candidate's going through our interview process, when they go through a first initial phone screen with a recruiter, whatever country they're in, when they're invited in for their first face-to-face interview, they obviously get confirmation that they're coming, but you also get access to something called Boom for RG Talent. So our own internal communications hub is called Boom for Award Gateway, and it's where you can have all the different comms in your business. So what we've done is we've used our own tool and created something for our candidates. So as someone coming to an interview for Award Gateway, they get access to this, and it's segmented per country. So if that was a Bulgarian employee, you would see the Bulgarian recruiter there rather than me. And it basically tells them everything they need to know before they come for an interview. So our benefits, your own development, there's a bit to the handbook, our charities, values, culture, there's videos, there's meet the team, there's everything. So they can really prepare themselves and actually get to know our business a lot more. And then we have our Glassdoor on there. The speak up part there, so if you click through to that, it goes through to like a question survey. So we ask them about their experience so far in their interview process, which is really great. And it also goes through to our employee handbook, which then they can see everything about the business. So, you know, what happens about annual leave, like Emborder, for example, what the onboarding looks like, what our security, just loads and loads of different things. We've only started doing that in the last 2 months, and we created that ourselves. And so far, I've seen the difference in the quality of people and how they're prepared when they come to an interview. They're so much more bought into our brand, which is really great. So if we're thinking about the future, the thing about Reward Gateway is that we're so fast moving. It's great. Our CEO is very innovation led, and sometimes I feel like we just need to press the stop button so we can just think and digest everything and then go forward, but that will never happen. So there's so much that we want to do. Then there's other things that I haven't put on there, but these are probably immediate. So continue on with our employer brand. We really want to make a name for ourselves, especially in America. We're currently hiring a whole new office there. So we're going to be hiring probably another 40 people in Boston in the next 12 months. So we really want to make sure that we're an employer that people want to work for. Social media. So we've only just launched one social media channel, so we've got some more to launch very soon. I went to a seminar recently, and there was a company that was doing like live social media posts on Facebook and interviewing hiring managers when they have a job vacancy rather than posting an advert. And like that stuff we'd love to try just to see how that works. Slack, there's so much more we can do with that. It actually integrates with Greenhouse. So we're going to be looking at ways of how we can post jobs internally through Greenhouse. There's also ways you can find talent externally outside your business through Slack as well. There's so much more we're going to do on that. Grad schemes or university sandwich placements. This is something that we've never done as a business. And it's something that we're definitely going to look at doing. More so for tech, because it would help us train some junior tech people. We don't really have tech in this country, but we'd like to develop some skills here as well. We're currently working on a project which is basically to create the best hiring process we can. And that's, at the moment, we just started that, so it's incorporating manager feedback sessions, sessions with current new hires. Just basically, we want to make the best process we can possibly make. Accreditation for hiring managers. So we're actually going to make a bit like a university for hiring managers. They have to have passed a certain accreditation to actually interview someone at a certain stage. Because we're growing so quickly, a lot of people get promoted within. So we've got some hiring managers in our client success team, for example, who are only been in that role for a month and are actually hiring, so they've never had any experience. It's just teaching people how to do that. And just truly understanding our candidates' journey. You know, what do they look for when they're looking for a job? Like, what journey do they have on our website? Really understanding what that looks like, because they are actually buying something. They're buying a career as well, which is really important. That's me.